What's up, Calgary? How y'all feeling? If you're feeling good, I want to hear you say hip hop. Hip hop. Very nice. You know, it's a real blessing and a pleasure. Thank you, Andrew. You know, when you run into a CEO at the Canadian Music Week, and I just finished doing a sit-down keynote with Cardinal Official, and you know, he said, "Man, you know, I followed you and I watched your keynote with Cardi, and I really want you to come out to the to NMC." And I'm like, "Yeah, let's make it happen." You know, so weeks later, we bounced some emails back and forth, and then I said to him, I said, "Hey, well, you know, what's going on for the 50th year of hip hop?" He said, "Well, you know, we're planning to do some stuff, but if you're interested in doing something, we'd love to make it happen." Man, that's what I enjoy and like about a CEO that is so relaxed and chilled as him. Because he said, he gave us the green light. He said, "Hey, we're going to hook up with Benny J. The man runs things out here." And we actually put this together in, I don't even know how long. It was very short time, as you mentioned. But it was also the NMC team as well. And I'll get to them a little later on as well. But the beautiful thing is that we are here today to celebrate 50 years of hip hop. And, I can go back to the 70s of hip hop. Don't start doing math. But I can go back to the 70s. Who's a 70s baby? 70s can do jobs. Oh, come on now. Be proud. Be proud. Who likes some 80s hip hop? 90s hip hop? 2000s? All right. So we've got a whole range of hip hop that we all love and we like to listen to. But today, one of the things that, what I mentioned to Andrew is that I want to represent the four elements of hip hop, which is the MC, the DJ, respect with DJ Pump, graffiti, and breaking. And that's all going to be represented here today. But it's all going to be done with a Western vibe, because that's where we are. We're not bringing people from the T-Dot, aside from me, an expensive plane ticket. That's about it. But that's why we want you guys to embrace it, enjoy the day, relax. You're going to see all kinds of stuff and all kinds of vibes happening. And some people call the fifth element of hip-hop is knowledge. And it's about sharing knowledge. Hip-hop has become, they've gone through so many social platforms. They've delivered so much, to the world through voting, through, Black rights, Black Lives Matter. All of those things have happened. So the knowledge we're going to deal with today, we're going to kick off right now. We're going to sit down for an hour discussion that we like to simply call a hip-hop roundtable. So please, I'd like to invite all the guests to come on up. Grab yourselves and grab a stool. And relax and sit down, and we're going to sit down and introduce everybody and make sure everyone's cool. Give them a round of applause, please. Come on. Good. So funny. Everyone just kind of walked up cautiously, just like, okay, let me sit here. I'm not going to. All right. So, one of the things I wanted to do right off the bat was... because this is an element, this is a part of the Calgary hip hop scene. And I'm sure some of these guys know each other, some of the people, you know each other, some of you don't, some of you may have played shows together, maybe you have or haven't. But maybe all you people don't know who they are. But the most important thing is to hear their voices today. We're not sitting here going, "Man, this happened and this should happen for hip hop." No, we know there's a lot of things that need to happen for hip hop. I want the voices to be heard from a lot of these artists here today. So, if we can get introductions, just grab a mic and pass it around. What I'd like you to do is introduce yourself and just tell us your style or brand of hip hop.
My name is The Kid T. I was born and raised in Whitehorn, Northeast Calgary. You know the vibes. And yeah, I started off as an artist, and then I was blessed to be introduced to a camera. So now I'm like a multifaceted artist, I could say. So I do film, photography, and I still rap. I get busy.
Hey, what's up, everybody? My name's Jay. I go by many names: Yevgeny, Jay, Comrade, and many others. I produce. I do a bunch of stuff and been in the scene for a minute, and yeah.
Hi, I'm Yolanda Sargeant. I'm a singer-songwriter. Together we have a record label called Mo Gravy Records. Recently we just finished up a residency at Arts Commons, so that was fun.
All right, before we introduce you, give me 1 sec. I'd also like to hold a moment of silence for the man, the fly, Marv. If we can just have a quick moment of silence for him, please. And now, the only way Marv would want it, the fly. Make some noise for Marv. Come on, make some noise for the fly. My man is here. He's delivering it. Blessings, blessings. All right, sir.
What's going on? I go by the name of RTC Profit. My real name is Elijah. I'm an artist based in Calgary, an entrepreneur as well. I do a lot of marketing, videography, and I started my own record label, RTC Records, in 2017.
Hi, everybody. I'm Contra. I'm one half of Cartel Madras. Many of you know my sister, Iboshi. She lives in Toronto, but we go back and forth. We've been making music in Calgary since 2018. We got signed to Sub Pop Records in 2019. I work as a filmmaker, as a curator, and an artist producer in a collective called Foreigners.
Hey everybody, I'm DJ Wyzewon. My name's Rob. I am a host of a mix show here on CJSW, our local campus radio. The show's called Dirty Needles. Been doing it for 23 years. I want to shout out my man Cosm. He's been doing it on CJSW for as long too. I'm here to rep the DJs. Shout out to Pump, and yeah, that's what I do.
My name is Mouraine. I'm a hip-hop artist originally from Edmonton, Alberta, but I love spending time out in Calgary. I have an album I recently released called In Search of Gold. I could go on, but you know. Yeah. Anyways, my name is Mouraine.
My name is Beni J, MC turned entrepreneur, creative director, momentum maker. Founder of 10 at 10, and I'm just in this space to have a good time tonight.
Hi, my name is Temia. I'm a British-Canadian artist. I was originally raised in the UK, but now I live in Canada full-time, and I love Calgary. Shout out to Calgary, Alberta. So many amazing artists.
All right, if you keep those hands together, make some noise for everybody on the panel, please. Make some noise. You know, everybody, what I loved about you guys, everybody introducing themselves is you all bring a different element, a different style, a different vibe of hip hop, and it's all based out of Calgary. You know, I'm not going to sit here and say that we're going to go through all the challenges and everything that you've gone through. But one thing I'm really curious about is, like in Toronto, people can say, "Is there a hip hop community?" And people will say, "Yeah, there is. There are people that know each other, but is there an actual definitive hip hop community?" Do you feel that there? If anyone can take this, do you feel like there is a hip hop community here, or have you seen it kind of building and getting established? It's like you got the mic, Benny.
There is definitely community when you think about Calgary. I think people look to Calgary and they can see from afar that something's going on. So ultimately, I think community has different facets. It takes a village to raise a child, and a lot of the times in your communities, you need mothers and aunties and uncles and brothers and mentors. So I think a lot of those things still need to be built. I think the ingredients for a community are there, that there's this like kind of overall or overreaching community, but there's a lot of work to be done. A lot of people, a lot of voices that need to come to the table, and a lot of understanding that needs to happen through education and conversation, right? So you look into the crowd right now, you see this room, there should be more artists in this room. They should be like, yo, this is hip hop, there's something I'm part of, right? They should have been here, right? So if they're not here, that's one of the elements that you have to work on when it comes to community in general. But that's just speaking from my side. I'd love to hear some other perspectives on that.
Yeah, someone else.
Oh, you want me to tap in? What was the question again? No, community. We have a hip hop community in Calgary.
Do you feel like there's a hip hop community here?
So, me growing up, it was always there. Like I saw it. I don't know if anyone knows District 5. Anyone know
Shout out-
District
shout out
5?
KL,
Shout out
K-Nace.
KL. So like growing up, you know, like I'm from the Northeast, man. So like these are the only guys that we were seeing like doing actual like big things, you know. Like they perform Care Fest every year. I'm pretty sure they open up for Riri, like when she was on her like Upon the Replay, you know, when she just came out. And like the element was here, it was just, you know, it wasn't really like marketed or like, you know, like taken serious because we're from Cowtown, you know what I mean? It's like Stampede, oil and gas. So, but it was always here, you know, like it's evident. You see the people standing here, you know, so it was here for like forever.
When you're putting your music together, whether you're writing, you're producing, is it entrenched in you that, hey, this is kind of like the Western vibe of hip hop, or the style of what I'm coming from is kind of like a homegrown, bass. Do you feel that?
I think when I think of hip hop and I think of kind of like a rapper's rapper, there's really like a radical spirit when you really think about the roots of hip hop. And I think coming from a place like Western Canada, coming from a place like Alberta, it actually kind of forces you to find that a little bit more. Like you're in a little bit more of a reactive position. You're kind of defending the genre. You're almost forced to be better. Like there's a real element of like, you have to prove yourself. You're from Alberta, right? Like it's different from being in a city where hip hop is so welcomed, where it would be so easy to throw like a 10 at 10 or a night where 10 rappers come and get on a stage. Over here, there's such a like element of we're really trying to like find our space. So it creates a different energy with rappers here. It creates a different way they put even their rhymes together. It creates a different energy for your branding. And I think when I look at the ecosystem of Calgary rappers, Alberta rappers, Western Canadian rappers, that kind of radical spirit of like, we're playing in a genre that might not even really exist out here yet, right? Like we're kind of pioneering something out here. That's something I've always felt.
I like it. Go ahead.
Yeah, I feel like each province has their own kind of vibe. Like I feel like there's definitely an Alberta vibe. I think there's definitely like a BC kind of vibe to hip hop, and as it goes down, like Winnipeg, Manitoba, everybody's got their own style, their own kind of thing that they do. Don't ask me to describe it because I don't know how I would do that. But if you like check out the artists from each province, you can totally see like there's definitely like a thing, like a vibe happening.
From my perspective, essentially a lot of artists out here, they tend to emulate their favorite artists. So the stylistic approach comes from, whether it could be roots in Atlanta, roots in New York, roots in LA, whatever the case is. So I think right now, a lot of these artists on the stage right now, and many that aren't here today, are sort of at the base of developing and building the sound, which is going to be the sound of Western Canada and Calgary moving forward.
And how do you describe your sound? How do you describe your sound? And you said it's the bass, but you've been at it since when?
I've been writing since I was about 5 years old, but I started to release music in 2015. Yeah. In all honesty, a lot of my influences come from New York, especially since my favorite rapper of all time is Nas. But I'm a very diverse artist. I can rap over almost any style of instrumental, and it's really hard to precisely put a finger on what my stylistic approach is. But I would say that it's a mix of modern flows, but harkening back to older styles and older artists as well.
Go ahead.
I just want to say, I'm clearly not an artist, but having DJed and done community radio for 20 plus years and hearing, local acts kind of develop, I think the one thing that I've noticed with Calgary artists is that there is no sound. You're not tied to, that's the Toronto sound. That's the West Coast sound. That's the Dirty South sound. That whatever it might be. You're kind of given that freedom, I guess, to take your influences from everywhere. Having done it for this long, you kind of to see the development of the artist sitting up here with, who I'm honored to sit up here with, and a lot of the folks who've come through. Just seeing the development in the last 5 to 10 years has been exponential growth from when I first started doing the radio show. To fill CanCon requirements, everyone knows what CanCon is, right? You got to fill 30% of your show with Canadian content. it was slim pickings in the early 2000s, y'all. You know, you were kind of limited to Toronto and Vancouver, mostly Toronto. Now it's like we're hitting our, CanCon requirements and all that easily with the talent that we have in this city, coming from Edmonton, Vancouver, and all over. So I think to nail down a Calgary sound would be nearly impossible, just because I feel like everyone draws from everywhere. You're not pigeonholed to your location as much.
I mean, speaking of location, I mean, Mouraine, like you're based in.
I go back and forth, but yeah, most of my roots are in Edmonton.
So like when you're driving on the highway, you switch up when you get to Edmonton, and then you reverse back when you come to Calgary.
I put an Oilers jersey on.
Is there a different sense or different feel to hip hop there?
I think in Western Canada, like just being privileged to be able to like travel and take my music in different parts of the world is we do have a unique sound. And people do, they can't pinpoint where it's at because they don't know where we're located on the map, but they know it's something different and it's something special. And I've like had the privilege of sitting down with like different, say, labels and A&Rs where they do mention that some of the best hip hop music is coming out of Alberta in the moment. So it's just we're not to be taken lightly, that's for sure.
Now, Temia. Because we were riding on the elevator, and I was born in Leeds, and she's from London, but it's still, so we're having this back and forth of this British thing or whatever. But now the UK, I remember going to England back in the day, and checking out the hip hop scene in the UK, and you go to interview these guys, and he was like, "Oh man, so how do you describe your sound? Oh man, we want to be like Wu-Tang Clan, man. We just want to be like Wu-Tang Clan." And every rapper wanted to be like
That's
the
what we
Wu-Tang
sound like.
Clan. And then now, obviously, there's a bunch of artists that are coming out, and they're bringing different styles, and they're bringing different. So, as being from the UK, and then coming here now, and having your base here, how do you kind of? It's obviously got to be a mix of the UK to what you're seeing here.
Yeah, so basically I first started like rapping over like drill beats, and like drill in the UK is like a huge thing, and I kind of didn't want to box myself in. Like even from the very beginning, I knew that I wanted to like try out different sounds and like mix in like R&B and drill or like pop drill or something, but still have like that drill element within it, and just kind of venturing into different genres and mixing it. And now I'm in like dance right now. And like recently a bunch of the things I've been recording is like very dancey, like very like Azealia Banks, like 1991. Does anyone feel me on that one?
We know that vibe.
And it's just giving like that vibe, and I'm like really excited for the process because this is where I'm having like the most fun, and it's nice to experiment and kind of like see where I can like push it and how far I can take it.
With the the advent of the internet, and you guys can pretty well go online and work with a producer in the UK or Germany or whatever. I mean, which is amazing, as opposed to a record label going, okay, we're going to fly you out there and it's going to cost you this much. By the time we add it all up, you're broke, and you owe us a lot of money. But as independents, how have you found the marketing for your music? And yeah, I know you just dropped a brand new record. This is what your third
new record.
This is your third record. Keep it going. Third album in less than a month, because you guys keep putting music out like crazy, which is amazing. This is your third album, but when it comes down to it now, you've got the record out, and how does that that marketing strategy happen for yourselves?
Yeah, it's a whole other game, I guess. You got to be all business minded. You got to switch off your artist brain, and then you got to get on the business side. As an independent artist, it's not the easiest, but these days it's, I guess, a lot easier maybe than it was in terms of like getting out there and on some levels. But, there's a lot to be said about it. And I think still like money rules the world still. We're still in that phase. So there's a bit of that. But for us, it's been good, and we've been successful, and we've been blessed to kind of be able to like get out there and get a bit of a response, and it's been nice.
You want to take it?
For me, I believe what's great about being an independent artist is it gives you more of an opportunity to actually tap in with your listener base directly, because oftentimes you're reaching out to people and connecting with people through social media. For me, I connected with a lot of artists from New York, from Philly, from New Jersey, producers from North Carolina, and so on and so forth during the making of my last album. And it's been great because when you have a lot of collaboration, you can tap in with that other artist's fan base. And also, again, through social media and Twitter, I've been able to reach out to a lot of people in the States, especially within the underground music scene, and get my records heard on a more expanded level. And it's a lot more organic rather than just specifically putting money behind it on a marketing budget, in terms of promotion and stuff like that.
I just want to do a little bit of a switch here, because first of all, I've already bigged him up already, but I want to big up Benny J, because the amount of time that we had to put this together, you're all sitting here because, hey, I'm not the guy that, let me call this guy, call that guy. I mean, Benny J, he has an Alberta Rolodex. Do you remember what a Rolodex is? Come on now, you can Google it. Young people, Google Rolodex. Google it, because, if somebody had a Rolodex back in the day, this brother was definitely deep. He had connections. So, with that said, first... Oh, you have a Rolodex. I bet you do. You got one. All right. Now, again, blessings and thank you, for all that's happened here today, because every element you've been there. But you're also, 10 music and culture. You put together shows. Tomorrow, obviously, you did a big show tomorrow with Cardinal Official, and you got all your artists and all the rest of this stuff. But how have you seen an evolution of the music and the culture?
That's a loaded question. How much time do we have? No, I mean, even coming from like Wyzewone's days, Wyzewon being involved DJing, also doing club nights as Track Bastards. And, I see a lot of OGs in the house. Shout out to DJ Gummies in the house. I see you out there. One of the hip hop pioneers. No, you got to make more noise for DJ Gummies. And shout out Rick Razor right over here. Rick Razor Sharp. There's a lot of OGs in this house. And I think initially you had small pockets happening throughout the city. Just small little pockets having their shows and being able to kind of meet out and hang out with other rap friends. But what we tried to do was centralize that so that people had the opportunity. This is a little bit before Facebook. I'm sorry, guys. We're old. We're dating ourselves right now. Facebook didn't even have the photo option. It's crazy. But seeing the growth, like Rob was saying, or Wyzewon was saying, was that, you had a lot of artists that just had enough opportunity to record their music and just put some tracks together with maybe a local producer that they were working with. Not much expansiveness on their sound, but you also had producers here who were making crazy world-class beats as well. So you had that music happening, but it was happening in smaller pockets. And over time, you had the opportunity for more artists to meet each other and be like, yo, you make that? Yo, we should link up and make this thing over here. Yo, you're a DJ? Yo, come with me. Let's go actually create a crew and do whatever. So you had, in time of creating a space where people can come together, you had the sound growing and the opportunity growing for more people. You had artists who just wanted to rap. When they came to a 10 at 10, there was a microphone for them to get on stage and do a cypher. And there was an opportunity for them to meet a beat producer at a beat battle. And when you're kind of like meeting new people in these spaces, now you get a chance to kind of pursue the evolution of your sound or your craft. And now it changes from being, I want to be a rapper on stage one day, to like, yo, I'm making music with this next guy. So it went from like 5 artists to, to 50 to whatever, right? The database you talk about, the Rolodex. Our Rolodex right now is like over 900 artists in Alberta. So if you guys right now can try to name like 20, there's been over 900, and there's more now, because I don't know every single artist. There's new artists every single day who listen to music, and they're just like, yo, I'm inspired, I want to make music. So, yeah, I think it's just grown because there's been more access, and then you have the age of internet, of course, and then you have your TikToks now and everything, so people are making music in their own little spots, and they're not even being seen and not even meeting people like this now. So.
Right. All right, we are celebrating 50 years of hip-hop. And, I'm going to ask each of you to actually answer this, because that's been the number one question when I've been interviewed by anybody. What does this 50 years of hip-hop mean to you?
You want me to go first? Okay.
Go first.
Salvation, evolution, growth. Like, man, I remember watching you on Channel 18, bro. Like, and like,
Yay!
You feel me? So like, the fact we here right now, and like you're in front of us, it's like it's surreal to me, because like being a young kid from Calgary, man, like this wasn't even like possible. Like when I was growing up, you know, it wasn't even like a thought. So like this 50 years, it means that like we're powerful. The genre is like we run the world, and it changes lives, man. Like it changed mine, you know. It changed the people around me. So it's like, yeah, salvation, man. Like up and up, like we going up. That's it.
Yeah, for sure. Just to add to that, I mean, it definitely changed my life in lots of ways. And, you know, I used to be into graffiti, MCing, DJing, did all the things, minus the breakdancing. But, so, 3 out of 4. Anyways, yeah, no, it's and it's crazy, and it's crazy to see how it's evolved. It's crazy, like back in the day, it was like, oh man, they played rap on the radio, man. Like, did you hear that track like yesterday? Like, oh, I can't believe they played rap, man. It was like, and nowadays it's like, it's crazy to see how it's become like, you know, an accepted, legitimate music form that's just like, yeah, this is what it is, and it's like dominates everything, and it's pretty awesome.
I would say that Hip Hop 50 is just hope for the most part. I remember being a little kid, you know, watching you on Much, watching BET, and I'm like saying all these songs, doing all this stuff. People are like, oh, she's a little gangster or whatever, right? But it's like now kids can listen to hip hop, express themselves through hip hop, and not be outcasted. And I think that's really important.
From my perspective, it's motivation, because I always looked at hip hop and hearing the songs, the records that were being made, the lyrics that were being spit as motivation. Like, you know, I'm a young kid memorizing, you know, tracks back to back to back when they would come on the radio. Me and my cousin making like, you know, cassette tapes off the radio and stuff like that. And to me, it's motivation. And from my perspective, what I do and why I create music is to motivate the next young child, next young kid that's listening to this, who might hear some lyrics and think, yo, this is something that pushes me to get through my day, that pushes me to get to the next day and work on whatever endeavors I'm working towards. So.
When I think about Hip Hop 50, it's so crazy because this is like such a young genre. Like if you really think about it, it's like it's still in like child phase, but then you look at the world and like the profound impact of the genre, right? Like if you look at the global impact of hip hop, and like I'm speaking as someone who was born in India, like hip hop is like the genre of the hour around the world. You can go anywhere, like, and it is hip hop. It's like the truest form of like the music of the underdog. Anywhere you go, right? Like any revolution right now, you go around the world, they're rapping. It is crazy for something that's just 50 years old to have that effect. So that's what I really think about.
For me, I like the idea of putting a date on it. You know, I like the idea of having, like, you know, you don't hear, what was the birthday of jazz? You don't hear that. To put it on a genre like everyone said has been so kind of like knocked down over and over again. It's Public Enemy #1. But for me, it's why I do what I do in this culture and in this scene is for all those people who are maybe a little, you know, your elder statesmen in hip hop. I do this for all those people who think hip hop is dead, because 50 is still young. And there is still so much amazing stuff for everyone out there. If you like boom bap from the 90s, there are literally hundreds of people who are doing what you like. You just got to look for it. There are people who do drill. There are people who do trap. There are people who do bounce. There are people who do everything that you people like. Hip hop is far from dead. We have lots of life left here. You guys don't have to look for it. Come listen to Dirty Needles. I will look for it for all of y'all. But that's why I do it. hip hop is not dead. It's 50. We've got a ton. We're midlife, y'all. We've got a lot of life left in this.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, just to follow on with what everyone was saying. For me personally, I was born in Sudan, and I migrated here as like a refugee. Came here around 2005. I was in grade 5, I think. I'm showing ages, but hip hop to me was more than just a genre at that point. Once I was introduced to hip hop, I didn't know a word of English at that time, right? So I found myself practicing my language skills through hip hop and writing lyrics. So I think hip hop gets underestimated for what it is. It's not just a genre of music, but it's like a way of living. It's a life. It's a lifestyle. It's a culture. I could go on and on, but yeah.
Hip Hop 50, man. I think hip hop as a culture is opportunity. I'm also an immigrant coming to Fort McMurray, Alberta from Ghana. And yeah, you know what I'm saying? And, you know, a large part of like trying to find myself in a city that didn't look like me, shout out Amy Heff, how you doing? Is, you know, I actually started breakdancing because I saw a VHS tape. It's crazy, it's like videos. But yeah, I started breaking. And in finding that breakdancing, I see this synergy happening across the world. Some kid in Brazil, you know, everybody's looking at him as someone that doesn't have clothes on his back or nothing, but everybody's dancing in a circle and he runs and does a backflip and everyone's like, oh! Now he's someone to them. Now he has a moment that people can look at like, wow, you have something to offer, and it just opens up the door. It's an opportunity for someone who, you know, has something on their heart, has no one to talk about, and can write it down on a piece of paper and all of a sudden say it back to themselves and recite it in a way that almost feels poetic and beautiful. And it was from pain. And you have an opportunity to leave memories, leave stories, allow people around you to find a step, dance, feel good about themselves from your pain. And now with Hip Hop 50, you can turn that music or that breakdancing or your music video aspirations into a career. You can now be an entrepreneur through your music because you're making a room move, people are streaming your music, you're selling your music, you're dancing in front of people in a theater like Arts Commons and people are paying to see you dance. You have artwork that people are paying you for. So from a culture that stemmed from not much, but a whole bunch of oppression, to be able to now turn that into access and opportunity to be who you want to be throughout the rest of your life because you're expressing yourself. Hip Hop 50, opportunity.
Hip Hop 50 to me is like fearlessness, like freedom. It feels like being within this culture, I can do anything. And like, because of hip hop, I've been able to be exposed to so many opportunities that I didn't even feel that I could ever even be in the room, like this right here on this stage. And it's crazy, and it's like really empowering to be within this culture. And I'm very grateful to be a part of it.
You know, as we mature, because you reminded me just how old my ass is. Sorry, you just reminded me how old I am. Sorry, young people. Thank you. I still have VHS tapes at home, but as you know, as we move forward, we age. You know, and there's another group coming up below you, and what do you feel you're passing on to that next generation? Whether they're based, you know, here, through your art form, what do you feel you're putting through to the next legacy?
Well, my goal is to like one day have like a school out here where we could teach people this stuff, you know? Like teach someone how to write a song, you know, edit a video, shoot their first album cover, you know what I mean? Like with the knowledge I know, if I could, like, you know how Tupac said it, if I could spark the brain, you know, that's the goal, man. Like, cause you can't just keep that to yourself, man. Like that's selfish. So you gotta always spread it, pay it forward, and that's the goal, man. Like, for the next generation coming up, I want them to see what Calgary has done, you know? Like, I'm a young guy, I'm 32, right? So it's like, I see young kids all the time, man, like, locked in on it. And like, if I knew what I knew when I was their age, God knows where I'd be, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, get them early, man. Get them on it early, you know? Like, show them that, like, it's possible to, like, have a career in this, you know, like, feed your family, and, like, you know, educate, knowledge, and, like, self-expression, man. Like, a lot of people, you know, they keep stuff bottled up, but when you get in the studio, get in the booth, it's just you and the microphone, and like, you can say whatever, you know? And like, yeah, that's it, just knowledge, man. Like, take everything you know now and just feed it to the youngins, and hope that they do something with it, you know what I mean? Because the way hip-hop changed my life, man, I wish I could do that with like a young kid, or, you know, young kid from my hood, Northeast Whitehorn town business. Y'all know who it is. And yeah, man, that's the goal. That's the goal. That's the mission. That's the mission.
Yeah, and that's just it. Just hoping that, you know, something that we put out there, the art that we put out there, can inspire somebody and get them to look at the world different, or, you know, inspire them to do something of their own. And I think that's the biggest thing. Yeah, and, you know, there's so many aspects to hip hop and just to music in general. Like, you don't have to be stuck in a box with anything, really. You know, you just do what you love, and if you're passionate about it and you're having fun, then, you know, things will kind of fall into place for you, and that's true for everybody, I think.
Anyone on this side want to take it? Pass it on.
For me personally, I came from a situation where I was able to have, when I was younger, I had mentorship that kind of led me and guided me in the right direction. You know, shout outs to Arlo Maverick, Politic Lives, you know. These are older cats in Edmonton who kind of took me and my brothers under their wing and just showed us the ropes, mentored us, showed us how to write a song. And I feel like my only duty and purpose is to be able to like pass that on, because I believe there was an older generation that also gave them that mentorship and just pass the knowledge down to them, you know. And then K-Riz is the perfect example and good product of that, you know what I mean? So 100%. Yeah. Just pass it forward.
All right, blessed. You know, I wanted to find out, me coming here for the very first time to the National Music Center, getting the tour, getting the whole vibe, just walking through the place, and you know, just how incredible it is, and actually being in this space, which is a beautiful space. What does a space like this mean to you as artist? Deep question, and that was a good one, eh? What did you think, eh? That was a good question. No, what does it mean?
To be completely honest, born and raised in Calgary, when I heard this was being built, I was like, in Calgary? They're doing that here? I can't be the only one. No, but I think that's exactly it. It was kind of just, you know, obviously having this and the idea of being able to take my kids here it's like better than the zoo. You know what I'm saying? Like it's just a whole other thing that I can experience. It's for something that's been so important to me, music of all types. To have it in Calgary, to celebrate Canadian music and contributions from all genres. Dude, Tonto's in this building, guys. Like, Stevie Wonder's Tonto's in here. Like, I can't even Google it, but it's such an important thing for I think the city, and to see it come through, and to now sit here and do this, dream come true. With you especially, because it's Master T, y'all. But I think that's what it means for me, is like it was kind of, Calgary's always been looked at as kind of lacking on that kind of musical cultural side. But I think this is kind of proof in pudding that there is a community here that wants to foster this, that wants to build that. And I mean, look at this place, it's beautiful, so.
I would say that...
Yeah, go ahead.
I would say that having the National Music Center here is more or less a dream come true. I feel like a lot of artists who've grown up here have moved to Toronto and other places. Having the National Music Center here means that you don't have to necessarily leave home to be at the National Music Center. We had a residency at the National Music Center in April. That's where we recorded actually our last album, Lo-Fi Future. I would say it was nice to have like a team of professionals that are like working with you. Yeah, like everyone's a professional, like at home, whatever, garage type stuff. But it was nice to actually work with a real team, work with like real instruments that you wouldn't even be able to have access to. They have a whole synth room, which is pretty cool. But I think it's just a blessing in general.
We have a little bit more time before we get into the next 4 elements of hip hop. But as obviously as we celebrate 50 years, and I myself, my own personal part of it, I can go back to being with my dad in the Bronx and my grandma, and listening to Grandmaster Flash, Furious 5, and I can think about literally dancing at a disco with my now wife to. To the Sugar Hill Gang, the long version, and getting down, man. We waited for that 15-minute track. We waited, and it's just like, I'm not coming off the floor. Had on my flare pants and my platform shoes, and I had a flashback. Oh, okay, hold on a second. But with anything, there's a legacy, and you guys are every one of you are a part of Calgary's legacy right now. Not just because you're here, but you are through your music and your art form. So I just want to know, where do you take it from here? Like, where do you see it going from here?
Global.
Global?
International. Like, there's so many talented artists in Calgary, and I spend a lot of time in Vancouver and Toronto, and even when I'm out there, like, I really have to like spotlight Calgary, Alberta, because the things that are happening here, the way every year every event just keeps getting bigger and mightier, and like people are just coming out and showing out, and it's like, yeah, that confidence that makes me feel good when I'm elsewhere talking about Calgary.
Who wants to take it? Go ahead.
I would agree with what Temia said. I think when I think of legacy, I think about this very strange moment of time in our city. I've said it to a bunch of people. I've talked to Beni about this before. Like, we're a city on a tipping point. It's so important what happens in the next 5 years here. But for me and kind of the people that I move with a lot, I think we're so interested in building the legacy of this city, like taking it and putting it on a map in this massive way. Because I want, when you think about this era of Calgary, like, you remember us, you remember Cartel Madras, you remember hip hop, you remember foreigners. Like, that is very important to me. We always talk about legacy, and I think legacy building is something that you have to kind of just step out of what you do. You really have to look at the artists around you and think of like, how do we build a space that we can play in together?
I think as far as legacy goes, I think we need to come together and like unify as a community and create the programs for the next generation and just give each other love and respect. That's what legacy is.
It's funny, like I was saying, how to me there's not necessarily a Calgary sound. We're all in the process of building that, so to speak. From my perspective, we're sort of at the base of something incredible here, and everybody is pushing in their own lane. Like, we legitimately have the opportunity to create our own lane within this, So many people I see trying to copy and replicate something that's already been done, and I'm like, don't do that. You were made you for a specific reason. You can express you in your own way. So it makes the most sense for you to develop your own skill set, how you want to express yourself. And then that makes you unforgettable moving forward as the next generation sees what was built before.
I think a good understanding of legacy is also having people within the culture invest in it. And that means with their time, but also with their money, with their capital, with volunteering, but also creating entities that give back, because community is more than who gets stage time or who gets heard by everyone. You know, a scene can only grow when people invest their dollars, right? So when you see something like National Music Center, to be able to have this type of room to discuss hip hop and bring Master T down,
it's very expensive.
Right?
It's very expensive.
Our nightclubs aren't doing this, right? People that make money from hip hop every single day aren't doing this, right? So it's going to take the people that love the culture and that want to see it grow. It's going to take them investing back into it and making it bigger than just their own artistic pursuit, but what's going to happen for the next artist and what's going to happen for the artists that come after those artists and what's going to happen for the person that wants to be an artist one day as well. So legacy for me is investment, people that carry on tradition, pass the knowledge, and make another opportunity for somebody else behind them.
You know, thank you. I think that's a perfect way to end this discussion. Money, dollars. Invest, bring the dollars, you know, bring the money, you know, keep investing in it because this is an art form that you can see, and you've heard all the artists that are here. They all live it right here in this city. So once again, I want you to put your hands together for everybody on the panel. The Kid T in the house, Sargeant X Comrade in the house, Prophet's in the house, Cartel's in the house, DJ Wyzewon's in the house, Mouraine's in the house, Beni J's in the house, Temia's in the house. Make some noise for your foundation, Calgary's foundation, everybody. Thank you.